The whole experience has just been the best time for me. I keep joking with everyone that it doesn't feel like I've actually been working. It just feels like I've been coming in and having fun and thinking, okay, today's the day that I really should start working properly. But we somehow managed to finish the piece in 10 days, and from beginning to end, and it was done. And I think everyone was a bit like, how did we manage that? Because it was so much fun in the studios. The dancers really collaborated and had a dialogue with me while I was creating, and it was a very joint effort, and everyone was so at ease, and there wasn't any pressure. I mean, there is, but it didn't feel like it. So it was something that just kind of snowballed and rolled on, and suddenly we had this piece at the end of 10 days, and it was great because then we all had the confidence and the ability to work into it and change the bits that we didn't feel comfortable with, and really get the finished product to be the best standard it can be. The music that I'm using is the Piano Concerto No. 1 by Lau Lieberman. It's a piece of music that I've always kind of had in the back of my head. I first heard it about 6 years ago, and it was one of those pieces that really spoke to me then, but I didn't have the right context to use it, and the right situation hadn't come up. So when Edward commissioned me for this piece, it was kind of one of those ones that sort of surfaced to the top of my brain, and I thought this could be a really good chance to use it and utilize the kind of energy that it has. It's a bit of a kind of musical discourse. It's got a lot of stuff chucked in, and as I said, that the second movement is the kind of the calm before the storm again. It's this this torrent of music in the first movement, and then suddenly we're pared down with a very minimal and very kind of sensual and secluded piano pas de deux in essence, and then we go back into in the musical score. It's actually called the macabre dance. So it has this kind of fiery, almost sinister, malicious energy to it, which we played upon with the dancers, and it's really given them kind of a drive and a force, and trying to make them a little bit more imposing than usual. I've actually designed the costumes myself for this piece, which is nice because for me the whole piece kind of takes the vision that I want entirely, and if it doesn't work, it's my fault. So the costumes, I knew I wanted to be something very simple, something that really showed off the dancers' bodies, something that was very athletic. For the ladies, we've kind of given them very, very sensual leotards with cut, and something that looks very human, and can reveal as much as the back as possible. With my work, I like to show off this kind of use of the upper body, and I've been trying to really install that in the dances. And so with a kind of a low cut, we want to get as much flesh and as much kind of real muscle tone as we can, while remaining very feminine and pleasing to the eye. Naming an abstract piece is horrible. I'm sure every choreographer will tell you that, unless there's something very clear cut in your mind from the beginning. But yeah, I think yesterday I arrived on a title, and it's something that you don't want to set up too much expectation, because you want to give the audience a little bit of freedom for them to interpret it how they want. You want to give a clear message to them, but everyone's going to see that slightly differently, or everyone's going to pick out a different personal aspect of the piece. So it's finding a name that will encompass everything that you want, but not narrow it down too much. And then there's also perfect words that just sound rubbish, and you can't call it that. We were going through a list of words, and it has the perfect meaning, it has the perfect body of meaning to it, and it just sounds rubbish. So it was finding the perfect something, and the piece, I wanted it to be something very raw, something very physical, something very internal. And again, I keep talking about this drive and this pulse and this kind of blood driven force behind it. So I'm going to call the piece